Well, I know so many of you are planning that once-in-a-lifetime, super exciting trip to beautiful Costa Rica, but we've got news for you. There's more to it than pura vida. If you've just stumbled upon our channel, I'm Heather, and this is Paul. We're taking retirement on the road, the rails, and the waves. Welcome to the Freedom Strategy. So on our flight down here to Costa Rica about a week ago, and by the way, we've been coming here for 15 years. We have a lot of experience on it. We were sitting next to a family and a couple, and this was their first time, both parties coming to Costa Rica. And we chatted the whole time, and we realized we had a lot of really good tips that we shared with them to help get them started on their Costa Rican adventure on the right foot.
Yes. It was really about the first 6 to 8 hours that they are in Costa Rica and what to expect and not be off-put by any of it.
Right. So we thought it would be a great video to share with you guys who are in the process of planning, booking, super excited about your once-in-a-lifetime journey to Costa Rica. So let's get going with the tips that we think will really help you get started the right way so you can really enjoy your pura vida vacation.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with Day one, San Jose.
San Jose. Most people fly into San Jose. It is Costa Rica's largest city by far. It started as a very small city and it's grown over time, and it's confusing and it's chaotic and it can be off-putting for the first 2 hours of your trip, and we don't want that to set you off in the wrong direction or diminish the excitement when you get to Costa Rica. So there's a couple things to really expect and understand about your first, let's call it 2 to 3 hours in San Jose as you're getting to your destination.
Right. And so I would say the first thing is the rental car experience can be a little frustrating, to say the least, for a couple of reasons. One is most, I think maybe all, but most of the car rental places are off-site. So they're not right at the airport like we're all so used to. So you have to go check in, and then you get on a shuttle, and then they take you like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes away. And it's just a little bit weird to start your trip that way. And it'll set you back an hour or two. So you really need to bake that into your whole entire trip, that when you land, it isn't just pick up a rental car and in 10 minutes you're on the road. It probably will take you 1 to 2 hours to get that rental car.
Yeah, I think the fastest we've ever done it is an hour.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And again, we have a ton of experience. Yeah. So be prepared for that and understand that that's going to happen. Second, then...
Well, and I was going to throw in one more thing about the rental car is getting the insurance for the rental car. It's a little bit of a high pressure situation here. They're going to try to sell you every single type of insurance that you could possibly get on the car, and it gets very, very expensive that way. So here is our advice. Our tip on that is if you have a travel credit card, it likely will cover some of those insurances, but not all. And all credit cards are different, so I'm not going to go through each one, but really dig into your credit card, see which insurance it will cover in foreign countries, and have a plan of action when you go. Because when you go into the car rental place, you can say, yes, I want this insurance. No, I don't want that. And the more definitive you are, the less time it will take you. One other thing to point out, if you take your credit card's insurance as primary insurance, what happens is if you have an incident, you will have to pay out of pocket, but you work with your credit card company to get paid back. So just important, have a plan of action so you're not there for an hour negotiating with the rental car guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, having said that, it has gotten a lot better in recent years. So I don't want to totally scare you off from getting a rental car. Well, let's talk about once you get your rental car.
Yeah, now you're in your rental car, you're ready to leave. So getting out of San Jose, most people don't stay in San Jose. They're going to resorts and coastal areas, so they're going out into the jungles or whatever. It's going to take you a little while, 45 minutes to get out of San Jose, windy roads. There's going to be tolls you're going to go through. So plan for about 30 to 45 minutes just to get out of the city. It's going to be a little bit chaotic. You might take a couple wrong turns. We even still do that after this many years.
We do.
You know, because we'll forget a turn or whatever. And so just plan for about 45 minutes of a little bit of chaos until you can get out on the freeway and things calm down
and it is a little bit complicated. Again, like Paul said, started off as a small city. Now it's massive, and their infrastructure just isn't quite set up for it. So the roads are strange. You kind of have to cross 8 lanes of traffic to get over there when you need to get off.
You could pull up to an intersection where there's a stop sign and a stop light, and you're wondering, what do we do?
You might have a green stop light and a stop sign. I would say in that case, just kind of go with the flow, go with what everybody's doing. Yeah. So those are some tips about the rental car. And the other thing that's important is you do not want to drive at night. Wherever you're going, like we go to the southern coast, the Pacific side near Panama. Beautiful area. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you don't want to be driving at night.
Yeah, our drive to where we go is 4 hours at best, and it can be a 5-hour drive depending on traffic.
Yeah.
And if it's, let's say, 2 o'clock or later in the afternoon when we're getting into our rental car, that's kind of our go, no-go zone, because again, driving on the road at night can be dangerous. You can get caught in a rainstorm. The roads aren't necessarily marked well with center lines, with edge lines. There's going to be a lot of hills. There's going to be a lot of turns. You're going to be unfamiliar. We highly recommend, and anybody that's been here local for a long time is going to highly recommend that if you're going to an unfamiliar area, do not spend any time driving at night.
Right.
If it's more than 15 minutes.
Right. It's dangerous, but it's not because the people are dangerous. It's the roads are dangerous. They're windy, they're curvy, they're not well lit. You have stripes on it and sometimes you don't, and it's just not safe. I mean, my son's lived here 10 years. He doesn't drive at night. So super important to take that advice. If you cannot get to your destination by about 6 p.m., stay in a hotel, which is what we do about 90%
there's Hampton
of the time.
Inn right by the airport. There's a Hilton right by the airport. So there's plenty of options to stay safe and then just enjoy the beauty of your drive the next day.
Exactly. And you can see I'm dripping sweat, which is going to bring us to our next point.
One more little tip. Okay. Over the years, they've digitized things so you can go through the tolls with a credit card if you want. So it's not so important that you get cash out of the airport. You can get out of the city without cash and just using your credit card. And
that is a newer development and super important. But when you go through the toll roads, you do have to look overhead for the ones that take credit cards. Sometimes there's only one lane, credit card only. Do not go through the fast pass or whatever they call it lane, because then you'll have to back up all the way back and get in the right lane. So highly recommend using your credit card, but just make sure you get the right lane when you're going through the toll roads. Yeah, good on that. Let's talk about the other roads.
So the main roads are going to get you to your primary city or destination, and off of those, you'll have secondary roads. Most of the time, those secondary roads will be paved, but sometimes those roads may be more of a clayish gravel surface, which is very, very common in Costa Rica. So one thing we didn't talk about the rental car that we need to cover is get a four-wheel drive rental car.
Yes.
I highly recommend it, even if you're just going to a resort destination that only needs a two-wheel drive car. You may decide you want to go to a restaurant. You may decide that you want to go to some other point of interest, a waterfall or whatever the case. You're going to find yourself wanting a four-wheel drive. So get a four-wheel drive, because once you get off of that primary road and you get into the secondary roads, they can be steep. They can be that clayish, rockish, I think they call it a caliche type of surface. They can be bumpy. They can be potholed. And that is completely normal. Costa Rica does not want to be laying asphalt all over their environment. They would rather have these more natural type of roads, and they can get rough.
They can get rough. In fact, the first time I was here, I remember driving along one of the roads. They can be really bumpy, and I just remember thinking, I am really glad I'm wearing my sports bra.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was pretty darn bumpy. But again, don't let that put you off.
No, it's just...
It's part of the experience.
Understand, it's part of the experience. It's part of their way of life of doing things. It's again, they don't lay asphalt all over the place. And you may be going to, and in this case we just did, we're staying in $1 million jungle properties that have really poor roads to get to them, at least by our standards. They're poor roads, but we understand that's part of the experience.
We expect it.
That's the way they do things. And we know at the end of that really challenging road that you don't want to do at night, but that really challenging road are going to be some magnificent places that you're going to be able to stay at.
Okay, now we're going to get to why I'm sweating so much. And the next point that we really want to point out, because a lot of people just don't really understand. This is a jungle rainforest. The weather, all right? So we're going to talk about the weather. There's a lot about the weather that people don't understand, they don't expect, they don't think about, I guess is a better way to say it. It's the rainforest. It's a jungle. It's hot. It's sticky. And there are a lot of bugs.
And there are a lot of bugs.
Right. God, we're not making it sound very beautiful.
I know.
It is so beautiful here, you guys. I don't want to make it sound like we're like trying to tuck you out of Costa Rica. What we're trying to do is set some expectations on a few things that can set people sideways when they get here.
And we've seen that in reviews of properties and things where people are really surprised about what a rainforest is really about, what it's really like. And it's hot and it's humid and you can have huge rains. And then when those rains go away, the noises come out, the insects come out. And by the way, you can have 2 mosquitoes in Scottsdale, Arizona, where we live, absolutely destroy your evening. We'll have thousands of bugs flying around our patio here. None of them are biting us. None of them are bothering us. It's just the way of the rainforest.
Yeah, it is. So just keep in mind, it is a rainforest. You are likely to get big torrential downpours at times. It goes away. Also, the power goes out. We had to go out last night for 3 hours. It can go out. Again, rainforest, trees fall and wipe things out. Just expect those things and make it part of the adventure.
Yeah.
I mean, Costa Rica is an adventure.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
Beautiful adventure.
And another part of this whole experience are the locals, the people.
They're called ticos.
Yeah, they are called ticos. That is not a derogatory term. Some people think it is. So yes, everybody here calls ticos ticas, if they're female. And they're just a wonderful, calm, peaceful group of people.
Yeah, I would say they're reserved. You might say that's conservative, whatever you want to call that, but they're not going to go out of their way to be boisterous and loud and inviting and that's not their style. They're a conservative people, which is awesome. They have tremendous pride in their country.
Yes.
You'll see it with the clean roads, the clean environments. They aren't trashing their environment. They're not graffiti. We don't see graffiti all over the place, that type of stuff. So very proud of their environment, but a very reserved a very reserved culture.
Right, and because of that, again, they're very welcoming, but they're not very boisterous. So sometimes when people go into restaurants, local restaurants, they expect the staff and the service to just fall all over you. Oh, it's great, you're here. They don't do that. They're very efficient. They're very polite.
They're very welcoming, and they love tourists as well.
And they almost always, I would say, in the hospitality, speak English. They do. Now, when you go to the grocery store, not so much. I'd say, in the grocery store, you might want to have your little Google Translate with you because you're probably not going to see a lot of English speakers working in the grocery store. But again, just expect that they will be there to help you, but they're not going to go over and above, trying to fall all over you to make you feel great.
And Tico time's a slower pace.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's a slower pace, so don't expect things to happen real quick. Like last night, you mentioned we had a power outage. They're not going to be there 15 minutes to fix the power problem. They go at a different pace, and you'll see that when you get here. And it's awesome to adjust to their pace.
Yeah, it's part of what makes it a relaxing experience instead of what we're so used to, this high-fast, high-paced environment. Now, speaking of the locals and the local environment, there is something that's very important for you to be aware of, and that is with your security and safety. Petty crime, petty theft is common here.
So if you're staying in an Airbnb or booking.com, you want to look to make sure that it has a safe in it. Your chances of needing that safe are slim, but you want to have it.
Well, no, you should use it.
You should use it. Secondly is don't leave things laying on your seat of your car where it's very visible, because you might get a broken window. They love your electronics. They want you to come down here, bring your electronics. They want to take those electronics sometimes, and they want you to bring back more next time. They don't want to do anything more than that.
And yes, and so a rental car is sort of like a big billboard, like, hey, I'm here and I've got a camera and I've got cell phones and iPads. So they look for rental cars. They will break into them if they see something that's sort of easy taking. Again, even if you're staying in $1 million jungle estates, they do seem to find out how to get up and get in. So do lock your stuff away. They're not going to hurt you. They never come in when people are there.
I've never felt unsafe anywhere that I've been, ever.
Yes, but you do need to be aware. We were robbed once. I mean, it does happen. But again, we were not super careful. We did not have our stuff put away in a safe. That's how we learned. That was 10 years ago. They didn't take our passports. And I don't want to go overboard about it, but it is something you need to be aware of. And if you take your own precautions, you're not going to be a victim of it. Nope. So not to end that on a negative note, because that was kind of a negative note, but I do think it's important to set your expectations with that as well and just absolutely take precautions. Now, having said all of that, we hope that this has helped you get off on the right foot with Costa Rica, not get in and think, oh my God, this is just crazy and it's hot. But how wonderful is Costa Rica?
It's absolutely amazing. And as you said, we want your first, let's call it 4 to 8 hours, getting to your destination to be a positive experience.
Right.
And if you have a good understanding of what to expect, that will happen and you'll be aware. And that's really what this video is intended to be about.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, it really is pura vida, which is what they say around here, meaning good life. It's absolutely spectacular. The monkeys, the toucans,
the butterflies.
The butterflies. I mean, we saw blue morpho butterflies. Every morning we're seeing them here. We do highly recommend that southern Pacific area, the true rainforest.
The deep, deep rainforest.
Yeah.
And by the way, term I heard yesterday, what we saw for the first time was a cloud forest.
Yes, cloud forest. So it is so worth it. It is so incredible. There is a reason not only that we've been coming back here for 15 years, but that, my son and our grandkids now live here for the past 10 years. There's a reason for it. It will draw you in. So we hope you love your experience, enjoy it, get off on the right foot, and spend your time here with a big smile on your face. Thank you for joining us here on The Freedom Strategy, and we will see you next time.